A very good evening to all of you, and welcome to our very first parent webinar. It was actually on Teachers' Day that I thought of the idea that, we all say that parents are a child's first teacher, and we keep having these continuous professional development for teachers. So why not have something for parents too, wherein they learn what is the best for their child? We all know how confusing parenting is. We all keep getting advice from different quarters, and everybody tells us different things, and we really don't know what to do. So we are launching a series of parent webinars where we are going to bring you an expert every Sunday, and we'll try and bring in as much variety as we can, from a dietitian to a clinical psychologist to a pediatrician. And we want you to write in and tell us what else you would like us to cover, so that we can cover all bases, because we know it's not only a child's academic progress that we are interested in. We want the child to grow holistically in all phases of his life. He should be a happy, grounded person. So for our very first webinar, I'm so excited to welcome Ms. Riddhi Doshi Patel. Good evening, Ms. Patel.
Good evening. Good evening.
When she sent her bio to me, her CV, it read, I think, I don't know, maybe close to 99 pages. So I had a really difficult time, bringing out the most relevant aspects. She's done counseling for 68,000 hours. More than that, she's trained 83,000 students, 1 lakh plus women. She's given 92,000 plus hours of talks. She's done parenting program of 520, teacher training program 478, and mental wealth sessions. I loved that, the mental wealth sessions, that 642 of those. She's the founder of RINS Academy Private Limited and Laja. In her professional capacity, she's an MBA of HRD, a professional trainer from City and Guilds London, certified training skills from Cambridge University, certified personality enhancement instructor from NMIMS Mumbai, child psychologist from London, NLP trainer, graphologist, and a dance movement therapist from TISS. She's been a speaker 3 times consecutively at TEDx. She's been a mental health consultant at Experts Week and a parenting consultant at quickconsultant.com. She's been doing training and workshop sessions at many institutes. I've just picked the relevant ones which will interest our parents here, since we are just a school: a Tulip International Ahmedabad, HA College GLS Society Ahmedabad, Vidyakunj High School, TERF Ahmedabad, Ahmedabad International School, Lokhandwala Foundation School, and Billabong High International School. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Pleasure, ma'am.
Parents, today we are going to talk about building emotional intelligence in your child. This is a relatively new term made famous by Daniel Goleman in his book Emotional Quotient, and is now one of the most sought after intelligences in human resources. While recruiting, the ability to get along, the ability to lead, ability to manage your own emotions. Because no matter which profession you choose, the only one thing that is constant is that you have to get along with people. So what exactly is emotional intelligence? It has 5 main components. There is self-awareness. This is the ability to understand your own moods, emotions, and drives, and the effect that it has on yourself and on others. It is self-regulation, which is the ability, adaptability, and resilience. And we've been hearing so many talks nowadays on resilience, because we know that we don't want our children to be fragile. There is the third component is empathy and relationship management, because we have to be able to understand what the person in front of us is feeling and why so. It also involves social skills, and which leads to better teamwork. Humans with higher emotional intelligence naturally work better as a team for several reasons. That's because they can adjust easily, and they have improved decision making and increased personal well-being, which spills over into their relationships with other people. We do try and do a little bit of EQ at Swarnim. So I'll just quickly tell you about what we are doing, and please do tell us what more we can do. My headmistress and myself both have done Howard Gardner's Multiple Intelligences course, and we both try and bring in the intrapersonal and the interpersonal relations that we spoke about into our everyday curriculum for our children. So in pre-primary, we work on the theme of Marvelous Me, where the students get an opportunity to share their feelings with their teachers. We have something called sunshine classes, where teachers talk about anger management, time management, self-management, and students are encouraged to write about what makes them angry and then try and find out why. At a very young level, they understand their own emotions and how to manage them better. We have something called laughing classes, where we allow children to understand what makes them happy and how they can do more of those things. We have a reading program in our school called WOW. And on that, we have some chapters which are about identifying various emotions and moods and relating different colors to those as well. And sometimes teachers wear those colors and then, they ask the children to relate to that. We're talking about the younger ones here. We celebrate occasions like Mother's Day, Father's Day. We just finished Grandparents' Day, which was highly appreciated again by everybody, with collaborative activities that increase bonding with the family. We believe this is one of the things that will lead to a lot of emotional intelligence. Festivals like Raksha Bandhan, we celebrated in a different way. We asked the children to tie Rakhis on trees, to protect nature. Because again, this is yourself in relation to the world around you. We do collaborative work to build in classrooms to build team spirit. We have an aviary in our school and we encourage children to go there and feed the animals. And on birthdays, they bring food for the animals. This is all to bring about empathy. We have something called the Catalyst for Change, which is the Catch Club, in which we collect clothes when there is a drought or there's a flood or things like that. Again, this is to arouse empathy in children and show them that, maybe feelings is not just enough. We have to act on them as well. So children have these drives where they collect from all the other children. We've collected even old toys and for a school next to our school and Children's Day. For children with special needs, we assign them a buddy, because when these children grow up, they have to be able to fit in society. The children with special needs and without special needs, and society we know comprises of both. So it's very important that they both know how to get along with each other. So we even have a buddy system for new children, so that when they enter school and they're feeling a little left out, I mean, not left out, it's just a little confused, a little bewildered with the newness of it all, they have somebody they can turn to at all times. And another thing that we do is reflection instead of punishment. If a child has made a mistake, which children tend to do, instead of punishing them, we ask them to reflect on why they have done what they have done and what do they think the repercussions could be. Did the friend feel bad about it? Did the friend feel sad that the bottle was broken or something got stolen? And once they've spent a little time on that, they themselves realize their mistake and they mostly come back and tell us that, yes, this was wrong and I ought not to have done it. So these are some of the things that we are doing in school. And we're really looking forward, ma'am, right now, for you to tell us what more we can do and what more our parents can do to build emotionally intelligent children. Because we all know rules of life are learned at home. So with this, I hand over to you. Please take the session forward.
Thank you so much, Swati ma'am. And you're doing beautiful. I think that's more than enough what a school can do, So let me talk about what parents can do to support this initiative, what you've undertaken to make children, high emotionally intelligent. And when parents and teachers, the parents and educators are on the same page, children are always sorted. That's personally what I feel. Right. So let us talk, parents, about how do you make children emotionally intelligent? Okay. Now, usually when we are talking about parenting, it's all about children's behavior. It's all about, understanding your child. But now when the world is turning towards AI completely, right? We need to make our children emotionally intelligent. AI has to go hand in hand with AI. Remember that, right? How do you do that? Some few simple tricks, and I'll explain each pointer so that it goes easy for you to implement in your day-to-day life. The first and foremost is make your child understand about the emotions. Now, why is emotions important? When I'm talking about emotions, it is important that you help your child to label those emotions. Okay. Now, how? Now, throughout the day, there must be times when your child reacts to certain things, or when your child starts throwing tantrums to certain things, or for certain things, or the child might kind of be in a very sad mode, is very envious or anxious or fearful, scared about something. Okay, help your child to understand those emotions. When you help your child to take those emotions, your child will go vocal, talking to you, discussing with you how the child has felt, right? So with the next time when you explain your child, so imagine that your child comes home from school, abhi to sab online hai, so probably post the school hours, your child is not feeling good with something. Okay, I'm sorry. And you might just ask your child that what has happened, and the child is not able to label it. Probe the questions. What had happened? Are you feeling sad? What is happening? So one or two questions and help your child to understand. Are you feeling unhappy with something? Are you feeling sad with something? Has your friend told you something? What? When you ask such questions, you will get an answer from your child. And that's where you need to tell your child, I understand you feeling sad. Let me help you to work on this, or let me help you to understand this, or let me help you to help yourself how to work on this. Yeah. So that your child got to understood that this is an emotion named sad, and it's okay to feel sad. But you need to explain your child that when you feel sad, you need to understand the triggers for feeling sad, and then let's together as a family work on it, right? So next time something happens and your child is not feeling good, he will come and say, Mama, I'm feeling sad, or Papa, I'm feeling sad. Okay, so help your child to take that particular emotions. Very, very important. Second, help your child to take pause. We, the current generation, we have forgotten to take a pause in our life. Right from morning to evening, we are just running. Okay, we are working, we are doing the household chores, we are working. If we are professional, we are handling the professional work. Our day starts by 8:39, right at a professional front, but the day ends by 1:32 to 33. Sometimes for people like me, I sleep by 4 in the morning. Okay, we have missed on taking a pause. We need to understand that it is very important to take a pause. So instead of taking a pause like once in a week, right, that what we do is Sunday off le liya ya Saturday off le liya. Okay? Instead of doing that, throughout the day, help your child to take a pause for half an hour wherein your child is just doing nothing. And if you ever see your child sitting idle in the balcony or doing just nothing, or even sitting with the books, but just sitting idly and looking somewhere or out of the balcony or just on the screen, but not you'll understand that physically the person is there, but mentally he's thinking something else. Let the child be there. Do not tag him, do not nag him that time ki aise kyun baithe ho, kuch kaam nahi hai. Do not do that. That applies to all the age groups, right from a toddler to a teen to an adult. Remember that. Avoid constantly helping your child to be engaged in something. Kabhi kabhi pause lene do. Let them understand their feelings, let them understand themselves, let them understand their thought process as well, right? If they don't take that pause, they will never understand. So let them take that pause and understand what is happening within, right? Now the third important, we're going to discuss few pointers, and then we understand how and why of it, and while we're talking about the first point, that is help your child to take the emotion, I missed out on one thing is every day or every week, once a week is good to go for children up to 6 years of age. Help the child to write a journal. Now, what is a journal, right? I want the child to write a journal based on emotions. Now, if I, as an adult, if I ask you to another adult, if I ask that, how was your day, right? What comes the answers? Good, bad, okay, correct? I want you to be going beyond good, bad, and okay. I want you to go and explain your child to go beyond good, bad, and okay, and give a synonym to all these words. Life is just not about good, bad, and okay. Life can be worthy, life can be beautiful, life can be not so satisfying, life can be satisfying, right? There are a lot of other things in life which we need to understand. So help your child to do that. So the first question in that journal should be, how was your day? Or how was your week? If you're doing daily, how was your day? If you're doing weekly, ask, how was your week, right? Then the second, how many emotions and feelings you had throughout the week? Explain. क्या हुआ था? कौन सी emotions का आपने बहुत बार face किए? Okay, ask them in your mother tongue instead of using English while you are doing this journal. Ensure that you talk to your child in their mother tongue. Explain the child to understand how many emotions or what feelings the child had throughout the week. कहाँ गुस्सा आया, कहाँ पे sadness feel किया, कहाँ पे fear था, कहाँ पे anxious था बच्चा, right? And you will also get the child's, you'll understand the pattern of your child's thought process. The third question, ask your child, कौन सी emotion में आप ज़्यादातर रहे थे? कभी गुस्सा बहुत बार आया था इस week में? Yeah, were you feeling happy for a lot of times during this week? So this way you are helping your child to understand that all emotions are acceptable, but if it is something which related to negative emotion, you need to work on yourself. You need to help yourself with the help of others and not stay in that particular space. Okay, do not tag your child that यहाँ पे क्यों गुस्सा आ गया, ऐसा क्या हुआ कि गुस्सा आ गया, मत करिए ऐसा. Give him a very non-judgmental space to do to converse with you as a parent. Very, very important. Okay, and the fourth question is one emotion you're feeling which you would like to start your next week with. So if you're doing on Sunday, you can ask that, how about Monday, which emotion and feeling would you like to start your Monday with? Okay, now when you're doing this exercise and when your school is already helping the child to be emotionally intelligent, your child is a very composed and a very mindful behavior you will get to see in your child. And those are the children, if the EI is high, those children would not need a psychologist or a counselor when they feel down, or when they have failures in their life, right? Why? Because they know how to talk it out, they know how to work on themselves, and they know how to let go, right? So this important EI is. Okay, going ahead. The third point, help your child to initiate a conversation, right? Many a times what we do is we probe, but our probing is in such a way that it's kind of a bombarding for the child, right? वो machine gun से bullets छूटती है ना, उस हिसाब से हमारे questions छूटते हैं. ये किया, वो किया, ऐसे नहीं हुआ, वैसा नहीं हुआ, ये क्यों नहीं किया, वो क्यों नहीं किया, किसने बोला? Okay, so relax. First of all, you need to relax if your child is emotionally down that day or some feelings which is quite negative. Relax. Understand where the child is coming from. Okay. And the golden words to be used here is I understand. When you as a parent say I understand, you are giving a space to your child wherein the child feels very comfortable, very secure. Okay, and when as a parent you say I understand, the child feels that okay, even if I'm wrong, there is somebody to support me and make me understand how to work on it. Okay, so I understand is a very, very useful a combo of two words. I understand, it's a golden word, I would say. Use that very often with your child, okay? And allow the child to start a conversation. In fact, always encourage your child to start a conversation. That's going to, help your child to accept his or her emotions. Very important, okay? Now, going a little ahead, while we spoke about the journal, while we spoke about, initiating a conversation, now, initiating a conversation all the times might not be as a fairy tale kind of a scenario, okay? It might be something that your child might come to you, stamp the feet and say, I'm very upset, or, मैं बहुत गुस्सा हूँ आपसे, पापा से, या मेरी friend से, जो भी है, okay? Don't laugh or do not react. In fact, your response should be, I understand, I can make out. Do you want to talk about it? Right? This is how you initiate a conversation. It might not be a kind of scenario where you expect that, okay, aapka bacha ke bolega, mama, I want to talk to you, papa, I want to talk to you. Not, that doesn't happen every time. Okay. So ensure that you don't react immediately when your child comes and stamps the foot, or gussa hai kuch fek diya. Relax. Reaction will spoil it more. Okay, so you need to understand that you don't immediately react to the situation. Also, next, what you need to understand as a parent is you need to model emotional intelligence in front of your children. Now, how do you model it? Right now, where you as a parent, right, there might be situations you might be facing in your life, in your day-to-day life, wherein not so happy moments you must be having at your workplace or within the family as well, right? Because we are adults and we tend to connect with a lot of people around and a lot of other people's emotions as well. Okay, so you need to understand that the child is constantly watching you. Your child is constantly picking up clues and understanding from you what behavior you are doing. So what is your coping strategy is something your child is constantly watching you. Okay, so if you have been very angry throughout the day on something which has happened worst at your workplace or within the home front or with your friends or anything, okay, when your child observes you and when you see that, or when the night when you're sitting with your child, every day spare 5 minutes before you sleep with your child. Talk about how the day was. Very important. And when you are sharing your day, talk to your child. I had a very sad experience today. And this is how I tried working on it. This is how I'm trying to overcome it. I understand it's not a good experience for me, but yes, I'm going to work on it. Okay. The child will understand that whenever there is an issue in life or when there is a problem in life, that there is a solution to it, and there is a coping strategy which differs from person to person, but there is a coping strategy to it. And remember, okay, your child is observing you constantly, or probably it might happen that when you're driving out and your child is besides you in the seat besides the driver's seat, right? And somebody might have overtaken you, or you've been kind of honking constantly. If we react, that's what your child is going to do when the child grows up. You might, if somebody is trying to overtake you, or if somebody is kind of, constantly honking, you might slow down, you might change the lane and let the person go. That is what you are teaching your child. Remember that. Okay, not every time in life you have to react. And that's very important for you to teach your child. Because every time if the child is going to react to situations or somebody's feelings or somebody's actions, mental health issues are going to increase day by day. So this, as we as parents only have to teach to our children. Okay, and last but not the least, make emotional intelligence an ongoing goal. It shouldn't be that कभी कभी ये हुआ और मैंने ये सब behavior कर दिया, और कभी कभी or I have kind of doing it, and then you talk to your child that look, this is the way you need to cope up, but rest of the time you have reacted, rest of the time you have kind of given if you're on the driver's seat and something that happens, you have kind of lost your cool as well. Child observes. And in fact, when the child sees both the sort of behaviors, the child gets into a mode which is very confusion mode, a space of confusion. Okay, so if you want to emphasize EI in your child, ensure that you model it well for your child. Okay, I hope parents themselves, and before I end this talk and before I open up for the questions, one last thing which I want you to ensure that when you see that your child is able to cope up with certain feelings or emotions, or your child has conversed well or communicated well, or your child has come and discussed, or your child is able to label the emotion and feelings and in being able to work on that emotion and feeling, please appreciate, acknowledge the efforts taken by the child, right? That's where you are motivating your child that, okay, if you're doing something like this is something which we really appreciate. This is what your parents have been doing it. And this is what it has to be ongoing, and it doesn't have to be a one-time affair or one-time things which you initiate and then again apne normal mein ho. Make it effortlessly, it has to be done, and ensure that you acknowledge, you appreciate your child. Very, very important. I hope this 5 pointers helps, right? And don't forget to have that emotion journal that is going to make it really easy for you, for your child to understand. Okay.
Great, great. So I'm just going to do a very quick recap. Appreciate, acknowledge, definitely. There was respond, don't react. There is ask open-ended questions. When you say that, don't bombard with, did your friend talk to you? Matlab, what did you finish your tiffin? Not like that, tak. We want more of them telling us how their day was. So ask a little more open-ended questions wherein the child can tell us about, he can steer the conversation where he wants to go. And
absolutely. So if the child has not even completed or finished homework, or completed the homework or finished the tiffin, okay, relax. Instead of bombarding, as Swati ma'am rightly said, instead of bombarding, what you can do is ask why he could not finish, and then explain the responsibilities associated with it. That if you do not eat, what can happen? Probably one time you can take to the general practitioner, let the doctor talk to the child. Okay, this is how a child is going to understand, not by you watching YouTube videos, not by giving gyan from TV stars or movie stars. It's not going to work. Or making them read an article. No, children need experiential learning, and that's what you need to give them.
Ma'am, one of the questions we're getting is that a child doesn't want to eat if there's no screen in front of him. I know this is a little bit of the nutrition aspect as well, but it again is a lot about behavior management.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Any advice on this?
Okay. Even if your child doesn't eat, okay. So even if your child doesn't eat for 2 days, na kuch nahi hone wala. Okay. But it's khate time screen nahi matlab nahi. See, try and understand some few things in life. One, if there is a TV screen in front of you, you first try it out one day. Sorry. What you can do is have a TV, watching the TV, you sit with your lunch, okay? Sit with your dinner or sit with your snacks as well. एक दो दिन करिए, देखिए आपका क्या body, how your body feels, okay? First thing, you will never understand when the food got finished from the plate, because you were busy watching the TV, right? Second, you will feel very heavy, very, very heavy, because आपने सिर्फ ठूसा है पेट में खाना, okay? अंदर पता नहीं है कितना गया, whether it was needed for you, whether it was not needed for you, are not aware of it, right? Third thing, if you're watching a TV serial, if you're watching news, the situation in that particular serial or that particular news channel, okay, if they are hyper, you are also hyper while eating food. Jabki, all the nutritionists, all the doctors, all the psychologists, we specifically say that food is supposed to be, you need to have food when you are at peace, okay? You can't be hyper and having food. It affects your body, okay? And the fourth thing, that's not the correct way of doing it, right? So what you can do is, and if you're going to start the screen, and if your child is going to eat food while watching TV or laptop or on the laptop movies or nursery rhymes or anything, first of all, your child will not understand what the food the child is eating. Okay, it is very important to use that time to explain the nutritions, explain where the grains, where the vegetables, what is coming from where. talk about it, uski choti choti rhyming kariye, right? Use that time to bond with your child, and not use the eating time to, you know, kind of responsibility. It's not the responsibility of the TV or the nursery rhyme wale people to raise your child or to make your child eat food. It is your responsibility. You need to really remember this. Okay, so what you can do is, now quick tips to do it. आज से शुरू करना है, आज से नहीं तो कल से. अगर बच्चा खाना नहीं खा रहा है, इट्स ओके, ठीक है, भूख लगेगी तो खा लेगा, ठीक है, बस स्क्रीन नहीं चालू करनी है. आई हैव सीन पेरेंट्स, व्हेन अ चाइल्ड इवन वांट्स टू poop, they give a screen and make the child sit on the potty sit. Where is the digestion word? It's just not in the system there. Okay, that's not the way to do it. Never associate anything with food. Remember that. Neither screen, neither pooping, nothing. Particular things, everything has to be differently managed. Okay, you can't be mixing things all the time, because when you mix things, the child's mental health is all in the confused state. Okay, so while the child is eating, if you want to make your child eat, do not run after the child. Have one specific place for your child to eat. Use the time to connect with your child, to talk about the grains, the vegetables, कहाँ से क्या आता है, कौन से रीजन से आता है. Increase the child's general knowledge. अगर आपको लगता है कि वो एक बार नहीं वर्क कर रहा है, include your child in cooking. भाजी तरकारी दे दो, you will give the bins and all, and ask the child to break with the fingers. Okay, छोटे बच्चों का fine motor skills बढ़ेगा. It's beneficial. 5 and 6 year old, allow them to roll the roti and all. It's okay, even if it's different maps and sizes and shapes, it's fine. But the child will eat because he is involved in that process. समझ में आ रहा है? Involve the child in creating the budget. When you involve the child feels responsible for the things that is been done. So आपको ये problem नहीं आएगी. But खाने के time पे screen associate नहीं करना है. I mean, TV is strict no, nursery rhyme is strict no. Okay, let me share a case with you here. So this has happened, like I had I attended a case wherein just few days the lady who had a 7-month-old child, her mother-in-law was with her, and for just few days, like just 7 days before she left. Okay, so 7 days only this lady was with the little baby, and the lady was really tense that what if the child doesn't eat, or what if I cannot manage. Okay, so what she used to do is she used to put on the screen, sit down, पीछे TV था, बच्चे को सुला के, and start making the child eat Cerelac. Okay, that is how it was done. And within 5-6 days, after 6 or 7 days, I happened to meet them. Okay, and they got to know that I'm a psychologist, and I ensure that screen and all not supposed to be mixed. And सालों से बोलती आ रही हूँ. So that day, she did switch on the TV, and she was trying to make the child eat Cerelac, and the child refused to eat. Child ने ऐसे कर दिया मुँह. And when the mother tried pushing the spoon, the child was kind of, it just went off. Okay. In 5 to 6 days, the child was habituated with the TV and the nursery rhyme that was played. Why can't you as a mom, or why can't you as a father sing the nursery rhyme? Try it out. It's fun.
Riddhi ma'am, don't know if you are online. Okay, so while we wait for her to come back, this is something my pediatrician used to tell me when my children were very young. One of my sons was a very fussy eater. So my doctor used to tell me that how much he will eat is his choice. What he will eat is your choice as a mother. So whatever I chose to give him, whether it was healthy vegetables and fruits, which he didn't particularly care for, so he chose the quantity. But I got to choose what he would eat, and he got to choose how much he would eat. Ma'am, we have another question here. I don't know if you can hear us. Riddhi ma'am?
Yeah, I can. I'm sorry, I was sneezing. Sorry.
Okay. This is more than a question, it's an observation that nowadays, a lot of families are living, not just COVID, I'm talking beyond that. where there are no spaces for children to play, and a lot of families there's just one child, so children don't learn the aspects of sharing. Plus, they don't really play on a playground, or they don't fall, they don't get hurt. So there's this always in a very protective environment in a child who grows up in a very protective environment. And then when he comes to school, he finds it difficult to adjust. And we are a school who believes in letting the children fall and learn, because that is how childhood is meant to be. That is how children are supposed to learn. So here's a gap between what the child is used to in his house. And it's unfortunate because there is really no infrastructure. We don't have a lot of parks. We are in Kolkata, and we don't have a lot of places where children can go and play safely. Sometimes it's the weather, sometimes it's the homework. I mean, not from our end, but some things like that. So do you have any advice on how parents can make children more stronger about, if you fail, it's okay. If you fall, it's okay. It's all right. Learn to accept it and move on.
Very important. It starts from when the child is in a very toddler state. Okay. If the child is walking and the child falls, what we do as a parent, we will go and spank the floor. Okay. We will say, let us spank this floor because it has hurt you. Then we tend to say, okay, not you, it is okay. You tend to pamper the child that moment. What you as a parent need to do is, hey, you fall? No problem. Hold my finger, get up. Let's start walking. This is the first lesson you can give to your child, that it's okay to fall, it's okay to get hurt, but it's not okay to sit there and cry. You need to rise up and start moving again. Okay, this is how you're going to teach your child. If your child is going down to play, and if your child faces some issues with the friends, let him manage till the time he comes and tells you that, Mama, I need your help. हम क्या करते हैं, छोटा सा कंप्लेन आ गया, चले जाते हैं नीचे झगड़ने, right? Don't do that. Let the child manage. You need to have a child who is street smart, correct? Emotional intelligence, street smart, and the child needs to understand how to manage. Okay, simple example, if you're walking with your child, सामने हमने छोटा सा खड्डा देखा, multiple times, I would say 100 times, in that 100 meters, we will tell our child, dekhna ha, you'll fall, dekhna ha, you'll fall. Arey Baba, your child can also see. And God forbid, if your child doesn't see, chota sa khadda hai, let the child experience. Okay. Once if the child experience, next time he will walk down, whenever he's walking on the road, he will look down, take care not to fall again. So unless and until there's a major damage, let the child experience choti cheeze. Because when you're saving your child from choti cheeze, your child will not be able to handle things, और जब बड़ी होगी ना, वो आपके control में भी नहीं रहेगी. So let your child understand that's okay to fail, it's okay to get hurt, right? And it's not okay to stay in that space, and it's not okay to be foolish and still walking on the road, right? So he will take care, and you need to teach that lesson, and only a parent can teach that lesson to the child. Remember that. Nobody else.
So I read an interesting thing once that we can have 3 types of voices. One is your regular conversational voice. The second one is a pitch higher, which tells you, okay, if you do that, you're going to get hurt. And the third one we reserve for dangers, when the child is going to put his finger into a socket,
absolutely,
or fire or something. Sometimes we forget the difference between the second and the third, and we use the second one for the third one for every emergency. We make it sound like a big calamity, that, oh, don't do that. So I think, if we can, like you said, the choti cheeze, we teach them to handle it themselves, and we save that voice for the really big things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let me share an example what I did with my little one. Okay. So and my sisters, my parents, everybody, if you go to their house, there is lovely that glass pieces and all. You find lovely antique pieces on the displayed on the over the tables and the center table and everywhere, and at my place also. So initially when my child was born, I shifted everything. Okay, because I didn't want it to constantly nag him and say, don't touch here, don't touch there. Okay, But I left few glass pieces on the floor and on the center table and all. And my in-laws and my husband, everybody was so tensed. But what I started is, whenever you used to go as a child, every child is very inquisitive. So whenever you used to go and touch, I will go, and instead of telling him not to touch, I'll help him to touch, I'll help him to experience. And then I used to explain him, it's a showpiece, it's a thing for decoration, and decoration is not supposed to be touched. You need to enjoy, you need to see how beautiful it is. And eventually I saw that he was so habituated watching and loving and appreciating all these pieces. If ever somebody's place, if you go even to a garden or anywhere, okay, he stopped touching. Try this out, it really works. Okay, so instead of constantly keeping your radars on, kahan kya bacha, ye kahan kiya, wo kahan kya, don't give more importance to the decor in the house. Give importance to your child first, and then the decor. Decor can be done. Now if you come and see my house, it's full-fledged the way I had before my child. Okay, it's a question of just few years that your child understands, and then not to worry.
Sure. And we'll just take one last quick question. I mean,
Sure.
the conversation can really go on, but it's a Sunday
Sure.
evening, and I realize your time is super precious. What about the fact that we are, the single child syndrome? They don't learn how to share. So is there anything parents can do about that? Because there is no sibling in the family. So how can we teach children to share? Because that's such an important thing when we are growing up. How to ask permission before you touch anybody else's belongings or anything of that sort?
Well, being a child psychologist, I don't give much importance to a single child syndrome. It's entirely upon the parents to have a single child or have two children, okay? It's either ways, right? Now, talking about if the child is not sharing, how to make your child share, I'm coming to that. But if your child is constantly not sharing, it is okay. If your child doesn't share things, it means that your child is feeling responsible about that particular thing or the product. Yeah, the child understands that this is supposed to be taken care of. This is mine. It's okay. So instead of reacting at that particular moment, instead of forcing your child, share karna, ye karna, do this, do that, don't do that. But before going to somebody's place, or whenever somebody's going to come to your place to play, what you can do is you can mentally prepare your child. You can say that, hey, this child is coming to play with you. Your friend is going to come and play with you. Let's together play. Me, your friend, you, we will share things. We will play the games together. Okay. And when your child is going to somebody else's place, what you can do is pack up one game or two games or maybe a toys, right, in a bag and say, both of you play together. You can exchange your toys there. You can share your toys and you can have must the time together, right? This is how you inculcate sharing. But if you're going to constantly force your child, no, that will never happen. Okay. And God forbid, if sometimes if your child doesn't want to share it, it's okay because he's feeling responsible, right? So use the other way of explaining rather than forcing him to do that.
Thank you so much, ma'am. These are really, really useful insights, and I'm sure they're going to be in our archives and parents can refer to them for years to come. So thank you so much for all your feedback.
Thank you, Swati, ma'am. It was a pleasure being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.